Spoiler warning for Honkai Star Rail up to the end of version 2.3 of Pentaconi's Trailblaze mission questline. If you have not reached the end of that point in the story and do not wish to be spoiled, click off and return once you have seen everything that will be covered in this video. Disclaimer: the footage I used for story content in this video was borrowed from other sources. Here's the list of channels and content creators I borrowed footage from. Also, if I get anything wrong, let me know in the comments below. With that out of the way, let's begin the analysis of Misha's lore and character.
How much time do I have? Brainwave made with cycle, gotta hike and collect, select, show me your best, like crystals, blisters, it's all over now. Cycle cane, you're sucking not anymore, candy cane. Cocaine, cold feet, gotta hike it, Mr. Twister, ones with bustery, stick it up, take it up, step aside to see the one effects is the best thing about the moon.
Misha, a small and precious bellboy working at the Reverie Hotel. He hopes to save enough money to go on journeys across the galaxy just like his grandfather did. Also, he has a connection to the cartoon characters in the dreamscape such as Clocky. And that was basically all we knew about him prior to 2.2. Yeah, I kid you not, Misha had next to no screen time before then. He showed up a few times throughout the first half of Chapter 1, then straight up disappeared for Chapter 2. Boy was off the grid for an entire month. But finally, we have the Misha lore. And maybe this one won't become outdated with the very next patch, as I don't think we'll be seeing Misha again anytime soon. Still hurts. In 2.2, it was revealed that Misha was a mimetic entity, one which represents the Watchmaker's childhood innocence and dreams. A reflection of his life, as Misha himself puts it. He is also a manifestation of the contents of the dream bubble Mikhail left for the future Nameless after his death, meaning Misha is quite literally the Watchmaker's legacy. So, although they're two separate entities, we need to analyze what we know of the Watchmaker Mikhail to paint the full picture of Misha. Let us turn back the clock and begin our examination on an ocean planet called Lusaka. A little boy would be adopted by two famous seafarers, and they would name the child after themselves. Mikhail Char Legwork would become the boy's full name, with his nickname being Misha. By the way, when I say Mikhail, I'm referring to the Watchmaker, and Misha is the mimetic entity. I'm stating that right now, so hopefully no one gets confused. Mikhail is the Russian equivalent of the name Michael, which in Hebrew means who is like God. The question is rhetorical, as no one is like God. In Christianity, Michael is one of the archangels and the field commander for God's army, who led the heavenly forces to war against the devil. Funnily enough, it's the opposite in HSR. The Watchmaker fell from grace, but inspired multiple factions to come together to stop Sunday from utilizing the power of eons. The name he inherited from his mother, Char, is most likely short for Charlotte, a name that originates from France and means free man. Knowing that Mikhail was a nameless and that the Pentaconi of his dreams does not belong to Order, this is a perfect middle name for the legendary Watchmaker. Speaking of the Nameless, with encouragement from his father, Mikhail left Lusaka and boarded the Astral Express. When he first joined, his main role on the crew was essentially the janitor. The navigator at the time, Falcon, asked Mikhail how he had fixed a watch that was previously heavily broken. Mikhail couldn't give much of an answer other than he simply looked at it and knew it could be fixed. Seeing potential in the young man, Falcon decided to make Mikhail the train's new mechanic. This watch mentioned may be the Trailblaze Timer, an item you get as a reward for completing the first two trials of Equilibrium. In the game, obtaining this item twice from the trials increases your technique points in the overworld from 3 to 5. Now, I don't blame anyone for not remembering this item exists because it never shows up in your inventory. I know I was hit with the Mandela effect and thought the game always gave you 5 technique points from the start. Anyway, the description of the Trailblaze Timer indicates that this is the watch Falcon was talking about. It describes the same problems the watch faced in the same order. Knowing that, the quote attached to the timer's description may be Falcon giving it to Mikhail. Take it, Legwork. It's yours now. Then, continue onward. Mikhail's bond with Falcon is actually a really impactful one for him. Not only did he inherit the clock from Falcon, but also his hat. When Mikhail chose to stay on Pentaconi with Tiernan and Rosalina, Granholm entrusted Falcon's hat to Mikhail. Granholm explained that when Falcon departed, he left his hat behind to be given to his best student. That same hat is the one the Trailblazer wears, inheriting the will of trailblazing from Mikhail and Falcon, and oh my god, it really is One Piece in space! Last thing to mention about the Trailblaze Timer is that it's described as a relic that might have been a pocket watch or a compass. Jumping forward a bit, we learn that the clock Mikhail's grandfather owned that inspired his dreams of Clocky was really a compass. This was a very subtle bit of foreshadowing to the misunderstanding that gave birth to the Clocky we know today. On this topic of clocks, I think it's best to now highlight how the imagery of clocks connects to Mikhail and Misha. You can very easily connect the imagery of clocks to concepts of dreaming, like how a lot of people set alarms to ensure they wake up at a specific time. However, I want to dive into a less on the nose, more spiritual symbolism behind the idea of clocks. Clocks can symbolize the passage of time and the flow of life. As a grim example, they can serve as symbols for death. The phrase memento mori comes to mind. Remember, you will die. Death is an inevitable fate for everyone, even someone as legendary as the Watchmaker. We see his entire life flash before our eyes, with the passage of time being indicated on the screen by showing silhouettes of Mikhail in front of a clock-like contraption. This interpretation of the clock imagery can also serve as a reminder to Misha for his spiritual death, which occurs during 2.2. It was inevitable that the amnesiac bellboy would remember the purpose of his creation. Once he did, he was forced to accept that his time had come to an end, a fate he accepted without issue. The last scene we see of Mikhail's life story is him conversing with Clocky, recounting the childhood dreams he would have of sailing the seas on a ship called the Compass. He says he wants to write down the dream, which I interpret as Mikhail setting up the dream bubble that would become the location, a child's dream. Inside that bubble, the mimetic entity Misha, an incarnation of Mikhail's childhood, was born. Misha, like Clocky, can only be seen by the Nameless, including those on the Astral Express. This is because the memory bubble he was born in, the bubble he himself served as the contents of, was a message to future Nameless to tell Mikhail's story and incline them to finish where he started and set Penacony back on track. However, he prefaces that the decision is ultimately up to them, and he won't make it for them.
For the path of trailblaze is never paved by others.
Misha's talk with Clocky is the perfect summation of the character and the themes attached to him. No matter how far you get in life, you'll never reach the true end of a path. New discoveries and achievements are made every single day, but that's okay. You leave behind a legacy, a trail you carved which other people, whether they be your descendants or someone you never knew, can venture further than you did. You plant the seeds for the next generation to truly bloom. The end of one person's journey can serve as the beginning for someone else's. That's what blazing a trail is all about. One last thing I want to mention about Misha. At multiple points in his character lore, Misha's grandpa is described to be an interstellar traveler, yet as we learn in 2.2, Mikhail's grandpa was a seafarer. Why the difference? Well, as seen in the Lycone Indelible Promise, Misha and Mikhail did meet. We know this is the mimetic entity Misha based on the clothing, as Mikhail at this age had different attire. Mikhail was the one handing Misha the Astral Express ticket in this picture and trusting the boy to guard this place well. By this place, he must have meant the dream bubble. It's possible that when he ventured out into the dreamscape, Misha retained memories of Mikhail, but remembered him as his grandpa and not the man he was essentially a clone of. Misha may not have been around for long, but the short time we spent with him was undoubtedly priceless. While I do slightly hope we may see Misha again somehow later down the line, if this is forever the end of Misha's story, then I'm satisfied. He and the Watchmaker that created him deserve a peaceful rest. Thank you for watching this video. This is one part of a series of analysis videos on Penacony's cast of characters. If you want to see me analyze another character from Penacony, please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future uploads. Also, like this video to let me know if I did a good job. As a smaller content creator on the platform, engaging with my videos really, truly helps me out. Thank you once again for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Until we meet again, take care.